Public service announcement time. The button for the walk signal at an intersection does not change the traffic signal. All it does is let the light know to turn on and leave enough time for you to cross the street safely. That's all it does. This is Ess-Fo. I am Steve. The walk button thing, it's insulting to me not only as a taxpayer to see another adult banging on one of those things like the ringing a friggin' bell, but how poorly it reflects on our intelligence or the increasingly unlikely idea that we have evolved. For children growing up today, it's understandable that they would fail to realize the limitations of the walk button. They've grown up knowing nothing but you press a button, something instantaneously changes, the dopamine flows through their minds, rinse and repeat. But for adults, to think you were there, you press a button, and suddenly you're on par with an ambulance or an emergency vehicle, I don't know how we figured this out. And here, walk, change the light. We still haven't figured out as a society that when a button in an elevator lobby is illuminated, you don't need to press it again. It's as if you think the people who have been standing there waiting are complete idiots. And I think there's a little bit of this. Are you reprimanding the elevator? I'm sorry. This episode, Ess-Fo returns to 2022. New music. Making movies brings us a little Romeo and Espanol. Fetishing the preemptive breakup with Morgan Harper-Jones. But first, Haley Blais and coolest fucking bitch in town. In my first 10 episodes of Ess-Fo, I was actually bleeping curse words out. It wasn't a morality thing. A lot of the songs I've covered already have explicit lyrics. However, I was really doing it for effect. I happen to be a big fan of the unnecessary censorship clips that are on Jimmy Kimmel frequently.
I wanted to my...
With Haley Blais's new single, you basically just need to surrender to the F word and be quick with the skip button when in the car listening to the Best of 2022 playlist on the way to school with the kids. People who use Bluetooth in the car know that the iPhone doesn't really care that you don't use Apple Music, and it will default to it when it first pairs with your car, and it'll also play the songs in your library alphabetically. This led to a stressful drive to school one morning when turn on the car, Apple Music fires up on its own, and the song it was on was Frozen by Madonna, so we are in the FR section. Song ended. Next song on the list, Fuck Motel by the band Fuck. Skip. Next up, Fuck This Town by Robbie Folks. Skip. After that, eyes in the back seat are getting a little bit wider. Then it's Fuck With Dre Day by Dr. Dre. After that, Fuck You All The Time by Jeremiah. After that, skip. It was Fucking Up the Count by Freddie Gibbs. Skip. It's no longer funny at this point, and the kids think I have a problem. Then the next song is Fucking Die by Skrillex. Finally, we're out of the FUCK land and into FULL with Full Grown by the John Spencer Blues Explosion, which has the opening line, Baby Baby, You Sure Like the Haley Blais is a little more discreet in her use of vulgarities in her song. They're actually sung almost in a whisper or like she's telling you something in confidence. It's a cool song. It's sonically on par with Phoebe Bridgers' Squirrel Flower, Adore by Amy Shark, and it also reminds me of Grace Under Pressure by Elbow, which was reportedly the inspiration for Fix You by Coldplay, and consisted of fans at the Glastonbury Festival in 2002 singing to George W. Bush, "We still believe in love, so fuck you." What I love about Haley Blais's song is the unique narrative, being a semi-outcast or a loser in a small town, but indulging in a rare moment of confidence. In the song, she's consoling a friend. She's either lying to her therapist or has made up the story of having a therapist at all, but in a way that mess that surrounds her, part of which is her own doing, part of which is just circumstance, it has become her identity. And so it occasionally gives her some sort of swagger. Like, you see me around town, you know I'm this messed up chick, and I feel a little cool about that. Like, you're looking at me like, oh, she's badass. I think of it because I'm not a mess. You ever walk into a store and maybe while you're still outside, you have some trash with you, maybe a receipt that's been in your car forever. Right before you get to the entrance doors, you try to make a basket and, 2 out of 3 times you miss, and then you've got to scrounge around on the ground like an oaf and hope the wind doesn't blow it away and turn you into Rocky chasing a chicken around. But occasionally, he shoots, he scores, right? And if anyone's watching, you don't look at them, you don't smile, you just kind of don't even acknowledge you made the basket, but you feel like the man. Anyway, that's coolest fucking bitch in town. Blais just released a new single called Survivor's Guilt. You can find her at HayleyBlaisMusic.com. Links are below. Whenever I hear a song with a waltz rhythm, my mind immediately shifts to The Last Waltz, the Scorsese documentary about the band's final concert. And the fact that the film had to be re-edited because it turned out Neil Young was on camera with a very visible ball of dried up cocaine in his nostril. You can take the coke out of the nose, but you can't take the nose out of the coke. You know what I'm saying, man? Speaking of coke, Morgan Harper-Jones may waltz through Never Have You, but she's very paranoid. The relationship hasn't even begun yet, and she knows it's going to end poorly, so she just cuts her losses. The texture and tone of the song recalls Fiona Apple, Rufus Wainwright, Regina Spektor, Nicole Atkins. What I liked about the song the moment I heard it was how in the lyrics she's already set fire to the relationship that hasn't begun yet, but the music says that she's still kind of picking out centerpiece ideas and save-the-date card templates. It's a kind of evolution of the sad lyrics, happy music formula that's been around since at least the Beach Boys. Here, Harper-Jones rotates it so that it's optimism versus cynicism. Starting with a balanced breakfast versus carving it on a mirror. Right, Neil? She jokes that her preemptive behavior is meant to protect this person from inevitable acrimony, knowing full well she's more worried about herself, that just because you already are damaged goods is not insurance against further damage. But her infatuation is clear. If we ignore reality, we'd be left with one hell of a view, she sings. The song was released on her second EP, While You Lay Sound Asleep, which was released earlier this year by Pious subsidiary Play It Again Sam Records. Links are below. Calor by Making Movies kind of reminds me of Smooth by Santana and Rob Thomas, only after you remove the Santana and inimitable Rob Thomas from the equation. I reviewed his first solo album for a British website. I trashed the album, and the review got posted on some Matchbox 20 fan community and set them ablaze. They wanted to push me around, and somehow I got into it with one of them. I don't remember how that occurred, if one of them got my email address or something, but the conversation then steered toward the Smooth video. And I made a comment that the only way to get people to watch Rob Thomas was to stick him next to a woman with rock-hard nipples. It was then put to me in Rob Thomas's defense that that woman in question was his wife. What kind of an adult contemporary artist puts his wife's pokies in the shop window? I mean, can you never show that video to your kids? Oh, look at those, son. They could cut glass. And the kid looks up and smiles, but there's a gap in his teeth from where he used to nurse. I mean, anyway, if you think that's crazy, welcome to the world of Calor, which the lyrics make our protagonist out to be something of a lunatic. Knocked on his ass by the sight of the woman of his dreams, love at first sight, cross with Pepe Le Pew. Romeo disables his filter and opens his cabinet of emotions. A decade in the romantic wilderness has rendered him incapable of composure in this song. He's just spilling out how he feels about being in love with this person. He's a stranger to subtlety. He testifies to baptism and nourishment. His life is being saved in the very moment. The rest of the band, which had been kind of keeping its distance up until this point, we had like hand drums and some bass, kind of a suggestive bass line, but nothing too obvious. Anyway, the band comes in full force, knocks him further off balance, and in the chorus, they're banging the key lid shut on a piano, playing descending patterns while he's going up in voice, and vice versa. This spellbinding voodoo tries to collect itself during a short bridge, but at this point, it's what's the use? The song just goes full force to the end. The energy of the song is fantastic, even if you don't understand Spanish. I don't want to be so stupid as to suggest that if you like Latin rock bands, you'll like making movies, but I don't see how, if you like Los Lobos, if you like Cafe Tacuba, why you wouldn't like making movies in color. I was also impressed by a couple of other songs on their new album Sopa, which just came out in June, including the song Sala de los Pecadores. The album also features El Lobo himself, David Hidalgo, plus Mark Ribot, the famous guitarist, the indie pop band Tennis, and famed session violinist Jeremy Kittle. Not Ron Kittle, Jeremy Kittle, Chicago. They are currently on tour, including Ruido Fest in Chicago on August 20th. Links are below. That's it for this round. Thanks for watching. Click like, subscribe. Check Instagram for newer reviews, including the likes of Power Pose, Zanny, Soul Dissolution, Chicago's Yo-Yo, which is spelled L-L-O, because they're just like the ocean under the moon. It's the same sweet feeling that I got from you.